Yay! Okay, so this is make that New Year's resolution stick. I don't normally make New Year's resolutions because I feel like I always fail at them. And what I decided or what I realized is that there's a reason why I always fail at them. So I've identified a few things that will help you, make it work this time when it hasn't worked before. Um, we gotta go to the next slide here, friends. Oh, right here. I am Amie McGregor. If you guys don't know me, I think everybody that's watching live knows me, but if you're watching the replay, I have a thriving direct sales business. A couple of my teammates are here, and I realized that, some people want to work with me and are either outside of Canada because our company is only in Canada, or already like crushing it with something else and not looking to, come over to do what we're doing. So I thought a really great way to be able to share my favorite part about working with my team is to open it up to, not having to sell what I sell. So I'm a certified push coach, which basically means I help small business owners and solopreneurs get real with themselves and visualize their path to success and then take action to make it happen. Because you could, have the map of where you want to go, and if you're sitting there in park in the middle of the road, then you're not going to get to your destination. I have tons of free resources like this event. I do free mini coaching sessions, and I wrote a free ebook. So if you haven't got that already, it's on my website, which is also where you filled out the form to get the workbook. So just click on free and it'll bring you to the download for the ebook. And I also do one-on-one coaching, which means that I work with clients one-on-one and we figure out, the why things haven't worked in the past, what has worked, what they liked, what they didn't like, and how to sort of leverage all those things to work for them and to, be successful and get on this clear path to victory or getting your dream or, crushing your goals. So this was actually, if you use Canva, and I'm sure lots of you do, this was a quote that was already in the Canva template I wanted to use. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I get so pumped about this kind of thing to like help people, just excel and use what's already living on the inside of them to, propel them towards what they want. And that's my passion. And that's how I can help other people by sharing with you guys. So the plan for today anyway is, and this is listed out in the workbook, is we're going to figure out one simple thing that you can do, or I'm going to tell you one simple thing that you can do right now to guarantee success this year, or anytime. If you're watching this, in March, it's still a great time and this will still help you. The second thing is I'm going to tell you about the importance of having a crystal clear hashtag goal like for real, and I'll explain what that means. Number 3, we're going to discover your superpower. And number 4 is we're going to identify some actions that you can take to see immediate results. So step 1, and this is in your workbook if you want to follow along with it, the one thing that I need to do to unlock success like I have never seen before is to decide. That's a super easy thing to do, right? But it's often overlooked. Like, you make this New Year's resolution, for example, I want this, I want that, that's what I'm going to do. But when it's just a resolution or it's just something that you've decided and it's living in your head, then you're not going to get what you want just because you had the thought. Why it might not have worked before for you or yet is because you weren't 100% all in. And add in the chat if any of these sound like you. You've fallen for your own excuses. I have done that for sure. You talk yourself out of something. You've gotten in your own way. How many times, if you look back at something, you think that didn't go the way it was supposed to, you can look back and be like, well, I should have done this. or I could have done this, or I didn't feel like doing that, so I didn't. But sometimes we have to do things we don't feel like doing. So you can get in your own way in those instances. Chantel says yes, yes, yes to all of them. You've been distracted, or you get easily distracted. I have that same issue where, like so many little things pop up and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I want to do, but that looks so fun. Or I would much rather, go hang out with friends, or, pre what times, but just being easily distracted from what you need to do and what you need to do, right? You took your eyes off the prize. It's so easy to get into like the monotony of doing the things that you need to do day in and day out that you sort of lose focus or lose why it's so important for you to get this thing that you've identified that you want. So you take your eyes off the goal for a minute, and then, you just get sucked into this like funnel of just turning around and around and around like a drain, like water draining down a tub. You're not going anywhere. It's just you're not keeping your eyes upward, or you got tired of waiting. Honestly, this is something that happened to me in the past big time. Like if things don't happen fast enough, I'm like, well, it's not working. Like obviously I don't know what I'm doing because it didn't happen immediately. Like that one person didn't sign up with me, so obviously I suck. Or that one person never replied to my message, so I'm obviously saying the wrong thing. You try something once, and if it doesn't immediately work, then you get, kind of bummed about it. Okay, so actually let's go back here. So let me know if there's anything that I have missed. If you're like, you know what, like I agree with some of these describe me, all of these describe me, like some of the ladies in the chat are saying, but is there anything else that you've come across of realizing within yourself that it has held you back before, or a way in which you've gotten in your own way before? Does anybody have anything that they know immediately is a sort of trigger for failure for yourselves? Maybe not. I got all the good ones, all the common ones. Not willing to make the time that you need. That's a good one, Chantal. Anything worth doing is worth doing well, right? And if you want it, but you don't make time to get it, then of course you're not going to get it, right? Okay, step 2 is having a crystal clear hashtag goals, letting others' negative words said to me become my thoughts. That's a huge one. Mindset. Mindset is number 1. That's what making the decision to do it is all about, and not letting any of those things derail you. So step 2, having a crystal clear hashtag goal like for real is important because, and this is in your workbook, just to explain what hashtag goal like for real is, like hashtag blessed, hashtag goals, like things that people put on social media that are like, oh yeah, that would be great. Hashtag blessed, like I'm living my best life, all those things, like they're sort of cliches now. What a hashtag goal like for real is a goal, but like legit. Like, no, this is actually something I'm going to do and take steps to achieve. It's one thing to say, like, you see someone, I don't know, at their cottage on the weekend, hashtag goals. Well, do you want your own cottage? Is that actually a goal for you? What is it about that cottage that is exciting to you? Is it that they have time with their family? Is it that they're able to get out in the outdoors more? Like that is the actual goal, but like for real, is not just the thing, but why you want that thing and how it's going to change your life. And these are important because how can you know if the steps you're taking are working out or not if you don't know what you truly want? So in the homework, the pregame homework, there was a little bit of thinking about what you want to see from this year, what you would like to do, feelings you want to have, all those things. So harness that and turn it into a goal, like for real, which should like give you goosebumps. When you think about it, you automatically smile. It might scare you a little, which is actually good. You might have you standing a little bit taller, sitting a little bit taller. Lots of us are sitting at our desks or at tables. You know, it makes you want to sit up when you think about it. Also, something that stretches you a little bit, you know, is a little bit out of your comfort zone, because that's what's going to create excitement for you. And then also something that, you know, the side effect is going to be that it impacts you, but also everyone around you. And that's what's going to happen, you know, when you make these changes in your personal life, the ripple effect is, you know, you're a happier person, you're a happier mom, a more engaged wife, you know, you just feel better about yourself. So your aura sort of changes and you just have this positivity that is contagious to everyone around you. Does anybody want to share a goal, like for real, if you have one already? I would love to hear them in the chat, or you can unmute if you want, but we'll have time to talk later a little bit more. But feel free to put your goal. I see Melina's in here. Melina, I know your goal. If you want to put them in the chat, that's going to have you already being a little bit accountable for what is happening. So don't be afraid to write it down. And you know, we've got this small group here. It's already, if it's a little bit scary to put it in the chat, then that's good. That means that it's exciting you, right? Okay, nobody wants to share at this point. Okay, we keep oh, Tiffany wants to share. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Sorry, my chat's not working, so I can't put it in there.
Go ahead.
So I'm putting myself a goal that I want to get like a good half hour, 45 minutes before my kids do, to have that time to just kind of like frame, what am I going to do today, or like to work on some of my goals. I'm not sure what that looks like yet or what I want to do during that time, but I want to carve out that time for myself.
I love that so much. And if anybody can see Tiffany's face, she was smiling like the whole time that she was talking about it. Like, obviously this is something that's going to make her feel good. I would say that it's not necessarily the goal. The goal would be, why do you want to do that? You know, like, what is the purpose of doing that? But you're a step ahead, because that is actually what the next step is to figure out what the actions are to do. So you've already figured that out. What we need to reverse engineer almost is, what is the purpose of, you know, having that time for yourself, of, you know, improving your health, things like that. So hold on to it. We'll get to that in a second. Step 4, sorry. Step 3 is your superpower. If you went through the pregame workbook, it asks you to like talk a little bit, you know, like identify the negative words that are said to you that you've maybe internalized. What are the things that you already know about yourself? Like, oh yeah, that's me. You know, when you see a meme about XYZ and you're like, yep, that's me, 100%. Some of the things might be, so these are your like character flaws, or like what you would say is and notice they're all in quotes, what is your worst trait? So go ahead and put them in the chat if you can. I've listed some here that I think are pretty common. Impulsivity is a good one. Always being late, or perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. I'm also, okay, this is just me. I'm not always late, but pretty much everything else can be me. You know, stubborn, that's a negative word, right? Procrastinator, yep, that's me, guys. I did this whole presentation. I finished it 5 minutes before it was time to go live, and I'll tell you why that's okay, but I'm a huge procrastinator. I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, which is obviously something I've had all my life, but just recently making that realization of like, oh, that's why I do those things. And sometimes people put in like, I'm weird. You know, I'm a nerd. People aren't going to connect with me because I'm different. And that can come off as a negative thing. So put in the chat if there's anything that you want to share. I'm going to take a sip of my cold coffee. If there's anything that, you know, you already know about yourself that isn't listed here. And then I'm going to go through just a couple of them to show how you can make them work for you. So by identifying it, that's the first part. Jen is just, yeah, listing off a bunch of things on my list as well, where soul sister is Jen. ADHD, stubborn, procrastinator, depressed at times, scared, all these things. So that's step one, is to identify it. But step two is sometimes a harder one, because step one, you know, all the things, you know, that people say to you and you internalize and you're like, yeah, I am like that. Chantel says stubborn, perfectionist, depression, scared, unorganized, um, negative things that, you know, make you feel bad about yourself. But what if you could instead take those words and basically look up what's the um, word I can't think of? What's the synonym? No, what's the opposite of the antonym? I can see Tiffany. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. And making that be the thing, right? There's a quote from like such like a meme, sorry, from a while ago, and it is about having a daughter, you know, having like a stubborn daughter. And if we can survive this time, she's going to be an amazing leader. And you know, when you apply it to someone else in your life, it's easy to see, right? But what if you applied it to your own life and said, I'm stubborn. Well, how can I use that in a good way, right? All of these qualities, if these are things that are qualities about you, then do you have to change them, or do you just have to change your outlook on them? I did want to say too that, like, you know, get into, if you're my age ish, once you're an established adult, you can't teach a dog new tricks. Maybe you can teach a dog new tricks, but like you could give them different treats. So it's just really just taking what already makes you up, what is already these qualities, and just deciding to use them for good instead of evil. So here's an example of, if you're impulsive, how to use that to your advantage. So you're impulsive, you know, you make split decisions, you like that instant gratification. So how to use that to your advantage is you get excited about new things. Being excited should never be a negative thing, right? What you might need to do, or sorry, you end up being an innovator because you're so excited about new things happening, and you know, the newest tech or the newest whatever it is. So you're looking to, you know, you can be the creator of those new things as well. You can also should set non-negotiables for yourself if you're impulsive. You know, if you're, you know, you like to sort of jump ship a lot, I'll use direct sales as an example. Does leaving your company to start something new is an impulsive decision. But if you decide, no, I'm going to commit myself to this company, what can you do? And that's the next one, is look for opportunities to try new things with sticking to that non-negotiable, right? Your goal for real should be a non-negotiable. That is my goal. I'm, you know, doing it with XYZ, and now I just need to look for opportunities that, you know, will make me excited, that will keep you, you know, in that space of, you know, not changing everything, but changing what you can and should change. Okay, procrastinator. I'm a huge procrastinator, so I had to put this one on here. How to use it to your advantage. You work best under pressure. You know that about yourself if you're a procrastinator. So if you work best under pressure, give yourself some pressure. When you're a small business owner, a solopreneur, you set the deadlines. You know, generally you set the deadlines. You make up the events. You make up incentives. You make up things for your customers. So you make the deadline, make it so that it is going to put a little bit of pressure on you, because urgency breeds creativity. That's the benefit of being a procrastinator, is when you only have so much time, is it forces you to do the thing in that time. I think a procrastinator is someone who just puts it off and puts it off until the last minute, but gets it done. So if you're at least getting it done, then, you know, you're the boss. Make the rules so that you get what you need out of it. And also I did a little Googling as I was making the presentation, and one study said that like 95% of college students procrastinate to some degree. So the general population of the planet, the human population of the world can identify with being a procrastinator. So if that's a big part of your personality, then lean into it and be like, do you procrastinate like I do? You can make a little challenge. That the procrastinators are sometimes carrot chasers as well. So they will get what they need to get done by the deadline. But deadlines are so ambiguous. You can make up any deadline you want. So use that to your advantage. And I left these little dots under for another line on purpose in case anybody wanted to add. I just got so excited on the previous slide that I forgot to tell you that. But so if there's something that you can think of as well, as a procrastinator, how do you use it as your advantage? What have you realized already that has worked for you? Okay, and this one, I think it covers a lot of people. I'm weird, I'm a nerd, I'm quirky. People aren't going to, relate to that because, it's not mainstream. I'm not like all the other influencers. Like, I'm different. How to use that to your advantage? You're not that unique. That sounds bad. But what I mean is, you're not the only person in the world that likes the thing or does the thing that makes you weird. And because you're not the only person in the world, there's other people out there who are going to connect with that thing that makes you weird. Like I always tell my kids, being weird, being a nerd, those are not negative words. And people think they are because, when we were kids, if someone called you a nerd, that, made you feel a certain kind of way, a negative kind of way. Being weird was a negative thing. It meant you weren't like everyone else. But the reality is that everyone is weird and different, and no two people are the same. So you're unique, but you're not the inventor of weird. There's lots of weird people out there. So embrace what makes you happy, right? If you're, my kids are into D&D and Star Wars and all those things that would in a previous life been weird. Jen says come to Portland. I would love to. I would love to go anywhere. But that's exactly it. Portland, Seattle, Austin, these are places like whole communities that are embracing what is making them different. And if a whole city can do it, then you as one person can do it. So you embrace what makes you happy because that's going to change your aura again, right? It's going to just make things different, and it's going to build that confidence within you to be able to present yourself, your authentic self. And when you're authentic, that's what draws people to you. So embrace your weird. The other weird people that are weird like you are going to be like, that's my kind of weird. And that's what's going to bring your community closer together. And being a nerd is cool now. I don't know if anybody realized that, but like, look how many, like, you think of what a nerd was like when we were kids, like glasses and like maybe suspenders, like that's like the thing to wear now. Like, nerd culture is like the coolest thing now. So you might as well embrace it if that's who you are. Okay, step 4. This is Tiffany's already got ahead of us with take action. So she's got this morning routine, and these are the things she wants to accomplish in it. That's perfect. That's exactly what you need. What you need is I went backwards. What you need is these actions and things that you're able to do right now. So what they should be is unique to you. So there's a few people on this call. I can't be like, okay, everyone's action is going to be this, because everyone's goal is different. Everyone's personality is different, and everyone's superpowers are different. So I can't tell you what your unique action is going to be without, having a conversation with you to see what your goals are and what it is that you need to do. But you don't need to have the whole plan already. What we're trying to identify is like 1 to 3 things that you can measure. It's not going to be like, be more approachable. That's not an action. An action is like an actual tangible thing. Like Tiffany was saying, get up early. That's an action. That's something that you can measure. You know, at 5:30 a.m., the alarm goes off. Another action that you can measure could be like, you know, if you want to be more patient, then figure out a way to practice patience. You know, put yourself in situations where you have to practice that skill. It could also be like, you know, I want to grow my social media following. Okay, well, how many followers do you have right now? How can you improve that? How many new people do you have to reach out to? How many follow-ups can you do? How many conversations do you have to start? Like, this is a measurable action. Then also simple. I know some people go all in and make like huge changes, but I don't know if it's like my friends or my vibe, but I don't see people making these huge life-changing changes, you know, like day of December 31st. That's the old me, and January 1st is a new me, and now I do this different and that different and this, and I'm all these big changes. Um, you got to do it simple so that you can build up to the big change. Like, you're not going to get your goal on day one. So what is it that you can do right now, immediately, to get some instant gratification? Because that instant gratification is what's going to keep you going. So Tiffany's morning actions of getting up early and, you know, doing something for herself, having hot coffee, those are all simple things that she can do that is going to make immediate change to her whole day. Like, she said that it was right out of her mouth that my whole day is better. I feel better. I can interact with people better. That is the perfect example of a unique goal. Tiffany's waking up at 5:30 is not going to be Val's waking up at 5:30 to work out. It's measurable because she can set that alarm, and, you know, you can check it out. Well, I didn't wake up yesterday at 5:30. Well, tomorrow I will, or, you know, you can see that it's something that you've achieved or not. And then it's simple. Like, she had those like list of 1 to 3 things that she's going to do every morning. That's perfect. Okay, here's a bonus step is accountability. If you're not accountable, and sometimes, you know, if you can't be accountable to yourself because all those excuses that we said at the beginning of the call, like you give yourself, you fall for your own excuses, you can talk yourself out of things. If you're that kind of person, then you need to find external accountability. And if that's going to be like, you know, your partner, you know, make sure that I wake up every morning at 5:30. Or your best friend, or someone that wants to get up at 5:30 in the morning with you. Let's do it together, and we'll just text each other that we're awake, or we'll see share what yoga video we're going to do with each other. Whatever that is accountability, because that's what sets you up for doing it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do as a one-on-one coach now. And then afterwards, we can do some back and forth. If you guys want to turn your video on or your sound on, we can chat about what is a personalized plan for you with the things we talked about today. But as a one-on-one coach, I help people like you guys to get what you want with me as your coach. So this is the package that you get. You get a personalized coaching workbook. Which is like, I'm so excited about. I did it this last week. It's brand new and it's so cute. Then you also get 2 Zooms each month with me. It's just one-on-one. It's not a group like this. So we legit, like, I use my hyper focus, which is something that people with ADHD, and I hyper focus on you. We don't focus on anyone else. We focus on your hashtag goal, like for real, and your actions and your tracker and your accountability. I've got this cool Marco Polo thread. If you don't know what that is, it is a like walkie-talkie, like a virtual walkie-talkie. There's video and text and pictures and all that fun stuff. And that's just because I like to keep it separate. You know, we're already friends, a lot of this. Val, that's okay. Val's already on my team. She gets all of this already because she is a leader on my team. I'm glad that she was able to make it. But okay, so this Marco Polo thread is keeping it separate from Facebook Messenger. In Facebook Messenger, you know, it's really easy to blur the lines between friend and working. So it just pulls that work conversations out into a different app so that we can all be intentional about, you know, like if you're messaging me on Marco Polo, I know it's a work thing and I can switch into coach mode and I can help you out with whatever you're working, whatever you're needing or celebrating in that moment with you. Chantel says she gets it. She has been on my team as well. Okay, so then we get a personalized tracker, which is the accountability action part of it. We figure it out what that is, what that tracker is going to look like for you. We start out with what works and what is achievable in that moment, and then we're going to build up as we go. You know, if you're looking for explosive growth, then you got to build up what you're doing. But a lot of times the steps you need to take aren't going to change. It's just the intensity of how much of what you're going to do with it. And then access to free access to future workshops. So I've got a ton of stuff coming in 2022 that will be paid workshops. So think of them as like a la carte things, sort of like this, but more in depth and not free. So it will be something that you automatically get as long as the value is $100 or less. It'll automatically be added to your account as a one-on-one client with me, as long as you're an active client. Okay, so these are just some reviews. Jamie said that she was feeling overwhelmed. This was before we talked. At the beginning of her talk, she was just like, you know, a deep breath and then like sort of word vomited all the things that are like just have been swimming around in her head and she'd never really said out loud altogether before. Then I gave her a technique to use her to better manage her time. And she's now doing it every day. It's part of her daily routine. And I've talked to her since she's given this review, and it's made a huge change in her life without getting into any of her personal details, because that's another thing. Like if you come into a one-on-one coaching call with me and you tell me something that, you know, nobody else knows yet, but it's your big plan, I'm not going to go telling everyone else that it's your big plan. It's not my story to tell. But I will hold you accountable to it, which is really exciting. So she says my ideas were super helpful and she's now getting things done. And she liked how I was very easy to talk to. And I do take the time to listen. When I didn't put a time on how long I one-on-one coach someone, I mean, I generally like an hour, but if it's going to go to an hour and a half or 2 hours and we're still getting stuff done, like it's not a chit chat, like it's an actual getting stuff done. If we're still doing that, then we're not going to, like, I don't have anywhere to go. Like I will literally take whatever time it takes to get to your like limiting beliefs, figuring out your actions, all those things. And I will help you find the right solution for you. Nadine said she'd started to feel her habitual self-sabotaging tendencies rear up, which is like that, you know, vicious cycle of you feel really good and then, you know, you lose that momentum and you start feeling really bad about yourself again. But in that moment of on her way down to starting to feel really bad about herself again, we had this session and she felt so focused afterwards. It helps to have someone remind you of why you're doing what you're doing. And sometimes to hear it come from my voice instead of your voice gives it more power. Just like when you're talking to someone else about their struggles, it's easier to give advice, right? It's easier to give advice to other people than it is to have advice or take your own advice. She said her heart feels full and I feel renewed just to keep on keeping on towards her goals. And I've kept in contact with her about those as well. And she's had some really exciting things come her way. And then Mark says, Mark is actually one of the 2 people that trained me to be a push coach. So he is like the Yoda of push coaching. And he said, Amie is going to blow your mind. I learn something every week I'm on a call with her, which is super exciting to see that, you know, I'm inspiring my mentors as well as my peers. Okay, so we've got 2 options, month to month and then a 3-month option. So month to month is, and they're both reoccurring charges. So month to month is a charge of $500 a month. It's done through Stripe, so we don't have to worry about it. We set it up and set it and forget it. And then we just schedule a call every 2 weeks. If you do the 3 months, you save 10%, which is $150. And again, it's reoccurring through Stripe, but again, it will just go automatically. But you can cancel at any time if money changes, situation changes, you're not liking what I'm putting down anymore, then you can cancel at any time. If you need the link, just let me know in the comments. But here's just a little reminder of what you get with one-on-one coaching. You've got the workbook, a call every 2 weeks, that Marco Polo thread, so you can send a message anytime. I'll reply within business hours. So you can send them, you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, feeding the baby, and something's coming up. I'm feeling really down about this, or sometimes something exciting happens. And when it's indirect sales, nobody gets as excited as people inside direct sales get. When you got a certain rank, or, you meet a goal, or you have a really great event with a really great turnout, like those are the kinds of things I want to celebrate with you, because I get it. I get how exciting those things can be. We've got that personalized tracker that we'll make together, and then access to those future workshops under $100 as long as you're a current client. So that's all for me. If there's anything you want to chat about, actually what I'll do is, Chantel can't seem to get the workbook or free ebook. Okay, I will send those links. Let me just turn